I have become quite fond of the awkward pause moments at the outset. Just kidding, just having a little fun. Anyways, welcome back, Maranatha, and welcome back to part 147. And this is June the 25th, actually. And moving into a time, this is June 25th, 2025, actually. But anyways, we're moving into a time when the devil is certainly running amok, but it's only a few days out from my niece's birthday as well. So if my foot happens to watch these videos, you hear them. Happy birthday, foot. I love you, little foot. Anyways, going on with the thoughts in my mind first, of course. As I was saying, there's not a whole lot of people who want to discuss, as I have noticed in the churches today, the things that are going on, the biblical signs that are going on. They don't really seem to want to discuss them with the church. And I don't understand that. Why would you not want to talk about Jesus, first off, and the things that he's doing around the world? Why would you not want to make sure that congregations are aware of not just what's going on in Israel and Iran and so forth, but the volcanoes and the earthquakes and all this other stuff that's happening every day? Yes, there is an earthquake or a volcanic eruption somewhere every day these days. And that's the pillars of smoke, right? Them volcanoes. And there's also these fires burning like crazy everywhere. And the other day I brought up what Goop was talking about out of Matthew 24, rather, Matthew 24, about these signs being the signs of the end. And guess where we're not going into this morning? We're not getting back into the book of Acts. Because remember, this is part 147 of Random Bible Lessons. I don't think I put that title on there, did I? Sorry. I'm a little scattered. It happens from time to time. But my mind is going in like 50 different directions. And it's all on the Lord, but you're seeing things that's happening, and it's like, look at this, look at this, look at this, look over here, look at that. And these things are converging all together at the same time and happening. And never before have we seen these things do this. People want to say, oh, well, that's all happened before. Well, duh. Yeah, nothing new under the sun. Says so in the book of Ecclesiastics. But here's the thing. They never happened before together, these things. They always were simultaneous. They were apart from one another. But nowadays, all these signs are fulfilling together. They're converging together, which shows this is the end. And not only are they converging together, they're ramping up and happening more frequently, more violently. But this morning, the Lord has me in the book of Mark. So, let us get our books, our Bibles, rather, our King James Bibles, and let us get into um, Mark 13. Because this is a lot like what Brother Good was talking about. And certainly we should keep our mindsets upon the Lord at all times. And we should try to get into the things the Lord would have us get into and not just what we would want to study. Because his flesh wants and desires to study the good things, the promises of goodness and greatness, but we have to study everything. We have to know everything so that we're not deceived. Because he told us in Matthew 24, see that we be not deceived. See that no man deceive us. Right? So let's go into Mark 13 though. And as he set out, as he went out of the temple, one of the disciples saith unto him, Master, see what manner of stones and what buildings are here. See, they were so excited to get to see these amazing things in this temple because they hadn't got to see stuff like that. Kind of like when I went through the big cities on my journeys, I was like, wow, look at these buildings. Look at this. It was just different. I was amazed. But anyways, and Jesus answering said unto him, Seest thou these great buildings? There shall not be there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be torn down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, over against the temple, Peter and James and John and Andrew asked him privately, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign when all these things shall be fulfilled? And Jesus answering them began to say, but let's back up for just 1 second. Look what Peter and James and Andrew had just asked him. Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of all these? What shall be the sign when all these things shall be fulfilled? That means they was asking when the end was coming. What will be the sign of the end? In other words, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of all these things shall be fulfilled? What shall be the sign when all these things shall be fulfilled? And Jesus answering them began to say, take heed, lest any man deceive you. See, even here, he told us not to be deceived, right? For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Look at all these mega preachers doing that. Look at the very Vatican with all their idolatries, professing that they know Jesus when they know him not, and they worship idols. Look at these mega preachers with these mega crowds because they're itching ear preachers, professing that they know Jesus, but they teach lies and abominations. They teach to worship, just do the charismatic thing. But meanwhile, they shoot devil horns from the pulpit, and they even do the 666 from the pulpit and all kinds of stuff that y'all just don't even notice because you're not paying attention. Hello, if the minister in the pulpit is doing worldly signs, that's a strong indication that they are of the world and not of the word. If they're teaching you contrary to the word, but how can you know that if you're not in the word reading it for yourself? Let's face it, people are lazy. They don't want to open their Bibles and read. They'll read any other kind of thing there is to read, but nobody wants to read their Bibles. The only way you can get to know God is to know God. John 1:1 said, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. If you truly want to know God, then know God. Pick up the Word, because that is God. And read it and study it. But if you dismiss the Word in any part of it, you're not going to know God, because you're throwing him out. Anyways, getting on in here. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Yes, look at the mega churches again for another example of the deceiving many. There are many who are deceived there. Many, 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 hundreds of thousands even in these churches that believe all roads lead home. No, they don't. All roads lead to hell except for one, and that is Jesus, because he is the way, the truth, and the life. And what does all the other roads do? Any who try to come up any other way is a thief and a robber. That's what. And when ye shall hear of wars, like I was talking about the Israel thing, when you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Well, these haven't just been rumors. They've actually been hurling the little bombs at one another. Be ye not troubled, though, Jesus said. For such things must needs be, but the end shall not be yet. Not yet, but these are signs of it. For nation shall rise against nation. And we're seeing that every day. Every day. And kingdom against kingdom. Now, that's not just the kingdoms of this world. You got to think spiritually on this too, you know. That's the kingdom of heaven versus the kingdom of hell. And it's rising up. They're rising up against each other every day. They clash every day. And there shall be earthquakes in diverse places. We've been seeing that and hearing of that. And there shall be famines, not one, famines, with S on the end of it, meaning more than one. And troubles. Have we not seen many troubles? If you're not seeing any troubles, I'd like to know what rock you hiding under. Scooch over. I'm coming to visit. Started to say put out a sign, but don't do that. Somebody else might see it and get there before I do. Just stand up there waving your arms. I'll find you eventually. But yes, it says famines and troubles. These are the beginning of sorrows. But how long have we been seeing and hearing these things? Let me tell you, I've been hearing of wars and rumors of wars since I've been in this world. And kingdom has been against kingdom since I've been in this world. And the earthquakes, though, they have increased a lot, especially since 2020. Now, honey, let me tell you something, children. Listen up here. We can't stay in the beginning forever. There has to come an end to it. And we've been in the beginning of sorrows for a long time. We can't stay in the beginning forever. We're progressing through it. We're not at the beginning of that anymore. And it's notable by the other signs that are occurring. You want to tell yourself this is just the beginning of sorrows because you want to believe that we've got forever left. No. These things were supposed to play out over a span of 3.5 years. In 3.5 years, each thing that was to occur was supposed to have its time frame. And for what? Because if you put 3.5 together and 3.5 together, you get 7. 7 what? 7 years of tribulation. One half was Satan's wrath, the other half is God's. Satan's wrath was supposed to come first. Then God's wrath comes because of what Satan does. But anyway, y'all don't want to apply spiritual wisdom and knowledge, though, to these things, do you? And I don't want to get too wrapped up and go my time way. So I'm glad the Lord just directed my mind to my clock on my little thing here so that I could tell that it's time for me to go into the next part. So I will see you there. And we will pick back up at verse 9. It's not like there's not a big arrow pointing to it or anything. Study guides, study guides. Anyway, see you in the next part.